Hi folks, welcome to Tidus episode 41. We are at the Iron Hearth bonfire inside the Iron Keep. Let's get a plunging attack on this guy. We need to collect more items inside the lava on the top fiery platform. We're going to use the same tricks as we used in the previous episode. If you weren't there for the previous episode, I recommend 4 stackable fire-resistant buffs. The first one is a Flame Quartz Ring, +1, +2, or +3. Tidus has a +1 on. The second one is Flashlet from Roosevelt. If you don't have Flashlet or you don't have a Pyromancy Glove, you can use the small orange burr. The Flashlet has 300 fire resistance. The small orange burr has 150 fire resistance. Those two do not stack. The third thing you want to have is fire-resistant armor. Put all of your armor on that's as high in fire resistance as possible. You want to stay under 70% equip load. And the last thing is the water pots over here to the right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear out the enemies in the area. Clear out all of the Alon Knights. Well, we're not going to get all of them, but we're going to get most of them. And there's some water pots under this platform. We're going to roll into the water pots. The water pot effect lasts for 3 minutes. Flashlight lasts for 90 seconds. So we're going to roll through the water pots, run across the bridge. Now there's another Alon Knight across the bridge to our left. He might follow you into the fiery platform. He will take heavy fire damage and he will die. So just let him die in the fire. Keep your shield out just in case you need it. If you want to tap him once with your weapon, you can do that. Probably won't need to though. Inside the chest, we have the Phoenix Parma. I thought there was an item over here. No item over there, just the Phoenix Parma. Now, all you need to do is go up the steps into this room to the left here and climb up the ladder. There is a Alon Captain there. Take out the Alon Captain and you can rest at the bonfire and it will save you a homeward bone. We're just going to homeward bone right back to the same bonfire. And there's some more items. We want to get the Firestorm spell. So let's renew our Estus Blasts, renew our Flashlight charges, and take out the enemies again. It is possible that the enemies will despawn at this point in the game. Usually it takes 12 to 15 kills. The Alon Knights have some good drops. They drop their armor, and you can sell their armor for 500 souls a piece without that. I think the old Ironclad enemy armor pieces are even more expensive. So the trick Tidus has been using is he'll take out the Alon Knights in this area, then he'll run up as fast as possible to the old Ironclad enemy. The old Ironclad enemy is going to put one big dent into the ground. If you let him hit it a second time, he'll put a hole in the ground. But he'll run right up to the old Ironclad enemy, lure him into attacking Tidus instead of the ground, and he'll dodge that attack to prevent him from putting a hole in the ground. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, just use a bow. Stand behind the threshold of the door and shoot him with a bow. It's so much easier there. Okay, so we always have that enemy is going to drop down. We'll kill that enemy, roll through these water pots, and we're going to take a second shot at this crystal lizard. We missed him on the first time. We're going to get him this time. Feeling good about it. Don't let our glove slam into the wall. We need to finish off this captain. Alright, we got a Titanite chunk and a large Titanite shard. We already rolled through the water pots. Let's put our flashlight on. There's 2 items in here. There's the Phoenix Parma over here. No, we already got the Phoenix Parma. We got the Fire Seed, and we have Firestorm. Chaos Storm. Let's forward going out. I think we'll go to Brume Tower and take on Brume Tower. There's some good items that we want there. We don't want to skip for Drainlane Castle, and we don't want to be over leveled for Drainlane Castle. However, there are some items in Brume Tower that we want to get. Totally forgot, we have 4 spell slots now. So let's put another copy of Great Heavy Soul Arrow on. Let's keep our magic weapon equipped. We're going to be introduced to some completely new enemies inside Brume Tower. Let's put the Stone Ring on instead of the Flame Force Ring plus 1. We'll remove our Pyromancy Glove and put magic on our weapon. The first thing you'll notice here is the Ashen Idol that comes out of the ground. We're going to ignore this one for now because you got to use a Smelter Wedge. We have 6 Smelter Wedges in our inventory. We will pick some more up along the way. Notice the Dexterity ring right down that staircase there. But the Ashen Idols, you use your Smelter Wedge to take out the Ashen Idol. They'll buff the enemies in the area. They'll cast a spell to buff the enemies, so the enemies take decreased damage and they deal increased damage. It makes the enemies very deadly. And the enemies are already very deadly. Don't forget that item just behind me that we missed. They'll also cast a Chaos Firestorm, just like you did if you get close by. So they'll buff the enemies and they'll cast a Chaos Storm. They'll also reanimate certain enemies as well in the area. This enemy here is an Ashen Warrior. Ashen Warriors can either just be standing waiting for you to come through, or they can come out of the ash and surprise you. There are 3 different Ashen Warrior types. There's an Ashen Warrior with the sword, Ashen Warrior with dual battle axes, and an Ashen Warrior with a halberd and a shield. The halberd and shield warrior is probably the most dangerous, but do not dismiss the other 2 Ashen Warriors either. They're also very dangerous. Particularly the Ashen Warrior with the sword can do a thrusting attack. It's got some good range on it. They're all very dangerous. There's an ambush down below here. If you go right to the right, you're gonna get all of the Ashen Warriors that'll come from the ground at the same time, and you'll probably end up dying. So you want to go straight first. You see that item to the right. Don't go for the item to the right. Get the Ashen Warriors. 3 of the 4 Ashen Warriors to summon in. Take out the first 3, then go back and take out the 4th. Run through all these piles of ash here. There are items hidden inside the piles of ash. So definitely don't want to miss out on the free items there. There's some good items in the ash piles. The Ashen Warriors have around 700 or 880 health. They're weak to magic, they're weak to dark, and they're weak to poison. If you are a magic user, you can use the Yearn sorcery on them. It's a great distraction. Tidus uses the Alluring Skulls. Alluring Skulls work great on them as well. Did you notice the other enemy there? There's a possessed armor over there with a bow and a sword, fire sword. It's called the Possessed Armor Sword. So we're going to do this in a very particular order. We're going to grab the Titanite slab and we're going to drop down. There's another Ashen Idol down below. We're going to ignore the Ashen Idol for now. Take note of the enemy straight ahead. We're going to go into this room to our right. Kill the enemy to our right. As the enemies are spawning from the ground, they take decreased damage. So you can use up all of your endurance trying to kill these enemies as they're spawning from the ground. You don't want to do that because then you'll be very vulnerable to their attacks. So wait for them to spawn up from the ground, then do your attacks. You'll notice that one from the room over there, only one of them came. There's still another Ashen Warrior in the other room here. And as you get close to that Ashen Idol, it's going to spawn more enemies in this room. And it's also going to buff the enemies. So now they are taking less damage. Notice that their health pool now. Looks like they have 1600 health instead of the normal 800 health. Look at that long thrusting attack there. There's one more Ashen Warrior in this room. He's to the right. He's going to stay over there unless you bother him. So we're going to take out this Ashen Idol using our Smelter bench. We're going to open the path forward. We're not going forward yet. We want to go back towards that possessed armor. But we're doing this in a certain way. That way it's easier to take out this area. When you take out an Ashen Idol, you get the Soul of Nadalia. You want to collect all of the Soul of Nadalia souls. So back up the ladder, and we're going to drop down to the left for the Possessed Armor. The Possessed Armor are very dangerous, especially with their bow. Okay? They can levitate their bow so that they can get a shot at you when they shouldn't have a shot at you. What you want to do to take out these enemies is you want to bait out their slash attack, and then you want to make them miss. Okay? And you're going to wait just a second, because they have a follow-up slash attack that they will do that is very deadly, and it's like a spinning slash. So you bait out the slash attack, make them miss, and wait for a second for them to not do their second follow-up slash attack, and then you attack them. And you rinse and repeat that until you kill them. So you bait out their slash attack again, wait just a second so that they don't do their follow-up slash, and then you punish them. The Possessed Armors can drop their sword, the Possessed Sword. They also drop the Possessed Armor Greatbow, and they can also drop Titanite chunks. The Possessed Armors are weak to strike, and they're weak to dark. They're resistant to fire. And they can be reanimated in certain spots by the Smelter, or the Ashen Idols. We got an Old Mundane Stone there. We went to the left here. There's an illusory wall here. We're going to activate the illusory wall. There's two Ashen Warriors, invisible Ashen Warriors that are coming from the soot here. We're going to take them out. Be careful not to let them shove you off the edge here. Behind the illusory wall are two chests. And notice the water pots here. We're going to pull through the water pots to get the fire buff effect for 3 minutes, because we're going to need it for the next room. We got some good items there. We're going to buff up our weapon. In this next room, there are the bull statues shooting fire, and there are barrel carriers. They're enemies that are barrels on their feet that move around. Now, the barrel carriers will run away from you, but they're a little bit slow. So notice how close they are to that fire. If you let them get to that fire, they will explode. There's another Possessed Armor here. The Possessed Armor sword has fire on it. So if he attacks, he can cause all of those barrel carriers to explode. And really, he could cause an explosion in that whole room. Notice all those explosion barrels right next to Tidus. It could be very dangerous. That is a dangerous trap waiting to happen. Some of those bull statues are on a track, and you can hit them and knock them along the track there. Use that to your advantage to take out the barrel carriers. We're going to drop down the ladder. There's another Ashen Warrior with dual battle axes. We're going to drop down the ladder again, and there's two Ashen Warriors here in this room. One of them's going to chuck a firebomb at you. So run, stay on your toes, keep moving. If you keep running, he will miss you with the firebomb. Notice the chest behind him, and lure him out just a little bit so we don't accidentally destroy the chest behind him. We get a fist weapon, +8. Got some nice views out here. Now, we got the bonfire right here. We're going to rest in the bonfire and renew our Estus Flasks. And there's an item in this room over here. Notice this door's locked. We'll be able to unlock it with the tower key. So we'll come back here later once we activate the tower elevators. We got our Twinkling Titanite and the Possessed Armor there. Notice his bow that just kind of hovers up into the air and he can take shots at you. He's very dangerous with his bow. And he will delay his shots by a second or two to throw you off on your dodging. Oh man, he is dangerous with that bow.
Seek soul.
We have 37,000
larger,
souls.
more powerful souls.
Let's see if we can spend some of our
Seek
souls.
the king. That is the only way, lest this land swallow you whole.
Tidus is soul level 98. We have 20 attunement. We want to get 12 dexterity so we can use the short bow and also the rapier. I don't know, maybe we want just 10 dexterity. That's a tough call. Let's get more vigor. We're going to need it for this next part.
Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle, where a man peered straight into the essence of the soul. But whatever came of it,
Alright,
those
folks.
who come
Thank
to
you for watching.
Drumlake
See you
seeking
next time.
salvation